Let's see if this works. Hi everybody, welcome back to a new knitting podcast episode. Today is almost the last day of October. It's 13th October today, and I thought, why not come here and make a new episode, just because my life will get so busy starting today that I don't know if I will have the time to make a podcast episode in November, which was my plan. So welcome if this is your first time here. Welcome back if you have been here before. My name is Maria. I am a knitter, a Romanian knitter, living and knitting in Norway since May 2022. So a little bit more of 2 years. And this is my knitting podcast. I'm coming to you once a month usually and have an update about what I have been knitting, if I have new projects on my needles. Yeah, I think this is what I wanted to say as an intro. It's always difficult because my intro is never the same, and that's okay. I have no problem with it. I hope you don't also. It's a beautiful, let's say, October day. It's Wednesday today. I am not at school today. Actually, we had just like 1.5 hours today because the teachers are having like an exam. So I'm not going to university or something, if you are wondering. If you are new here, I am just going to the Norwegian classes that I've started since January this year, and I would probably finish in March next year. Yeah. If you have been here before, you might expect me to have lots of finished objects. I don't. And I am so happy about it. And I will talk about this more later in the episode. But I do have 2 finished objects. I have a lace cardigan that is absolutely gorgeous. And it was a test knit that I had to finish until October 14th. And I finished, but it's a secret test knit. So for the moment, I cannot show the project. I cannot talk about it because it's a pattern that will be featured in a knitting magazine. So when the time will come, I will show you my beautiful, beautiful cropped lace cardigan. But until then, yeah, so that was a finished object. And the second one, I am wearing it today. So excuse my uniform, but today I was feeling like a legging person, and I am a legging person. Today I am home, I am cozy. Yeah, I wanted to feel very comfortable. So I will stand up. I will try to stand up. So guys, I finished my Ingrid Sweater. And this was still a work in progress last time. And what makes me absolutely happy about this project, it's the fact that I've used yarn from another two projects to knit this beautiful sweater. And I am so happy. So I had, if I still have pictures, I will put them here or here. I don't know exactly. So I unraveled a sweater and a cardigan. And I held the two strands together to work the Ingrid Sweater, a pattern so well known from Petite Knit. I did not gauge swatch, no. Almost 3 years ago, no, I think 2 years ago, I've made an Ingrid sweater in size 7. I checked my post and my memories, and it was size 7. Although I loved that sweater because of me losing since then, I think 17 kilograms. You can imagine how big was the sweater now for me, and not big in the sense of the positive ease and yeah, no, it was just hanging on me weird. And not only that sweater, many more in my wardrobe, knitted wardrobe. So I took a step back because I really felt overwhelmed of having so many knitted garments that I could not wear anymore. And looking at them and knowing how much money I spent on those yarns and time to make those garments, yeah, it just felt overwhelming. And as I've said, I took a step back and I thought, okay, this has to change. I need to do something. I need to make my best to unravel this project and to make something else. And this is how I've started this very special project for me, reusing yarn from old garments. And it has been a journey, but a very pleasant journey. And in this journey, I actually rediscovered enjoying the knitting process more than having a number bigger and bigger with every garment of garments in my closet, you know. So I thought, okay, this is like a new revelation. Although I knew I'm not competing with nobody, I was not competing for the fastest knitter of the year. And I felt very bad at the same time with a lot of joy when finishing a project, because I thought, okay, I finished so fast. I feel like I did not enjoy the project making it because I was just like a knitting machine. And yeah, this step back helped me to understand that my goal, of course, is to wear my garments. And actually, I'm wearing my knitted garments every day without exception. Unless it is extremely hot outside, which it can happen, but just in the summer and just for a couple of days. So of course I want beautiful garments in my closet. I want garments that fit me well. I want garments that will give me a hard moment to choose what to wear today. But at the same time, I don't want to knit everything that is up in the social media, because I've noticed that Ravelry Instagram, and I don't know if there are other knitting platforms or sort of knitting platforms that it's just how do you say, is throwing so much content out there, and it's so easy to be influenced. There is nothing wrong to be inspired. There is nothing wrong to save a post with a yarn that you might probably want to use in the future, or with a pattern that catch your eyes, but just cast on project after project or multiple projects at the same time just because somebody influence on you. I don't know if it is my way to do things. I am saving posts, of course, but that doesn't mean I will knit them all or I will knit everything I've saved, you know. So I have a lot of projects of my needles, but I think it's the first time when I do not feel stressed about it. I don't at all. And that's funny because I think until a few weeks ago, I was obsessed to finish everything I had because I couldn't stand to know that I have those projects. But I guess it's okay if our, I don't know, way of seeing things is changing, right? I think so. So, I digress so much, but I just wanted to explain what sits back in the back of my decision of reknitting, uh, of knitting garments and using yarn I have in another garment. Now back to my Ingrid sweater. I've made size 4 in the pattern, and I've made, yeah, I've used the same number of needles as the pattern recommends, 4 millimeter, and I hold 2 strands together. One strand of Sunday by Sunless Garn, which is fingering merino non-superwash, together with 1 strand of Roma Finul. This is a Norwegian wool. I did not modify the pattern, so I work according to the pattern, to the I don't know if I have the same length because I feel that my combo of yarn was a little bit thicker than what she's using in the pattern. So that left me, I think, with a different row gauge, but that's okay. I don't mind. I have a mistake here at the neckline. As you can see, I've made a double folded neckline. I do love how the neckline is looking in the original pattern. It sits higher and it has 2 sections. You start with a 2x2 ribbing, and then you have a row of decreasing and yarn overs, and then you switch to 1x1 ribbing. I really like how that looks. Unfortunately, I cannot stand something on my neck. So for this reason, I've decided to make a double folded neckline. I have to say that I picked up, I think, more with almost 10 stitches, but here in this part, I think I have 5 more stitches than here, but I don't think it's visible. And I like that this is lower because this is how I like. So it's just a matter of personal preference. I stick with the instruction for the sleeves. I did not add length. I've made the same decreases as the pattern recommends. There is an issue here with this part of the pattern. I don't know if you can see here. I just didn't know what to do. So the pattern just broke a little bit here and then come back here. And it's the same in this part. But yeah, I don't mind, to be honest. I really, really don't mind. It feels a little bit heavier, the sweater, but uh, not in an uncomfortable way. It's just I feel this sweater. I feel it's for very cold days, and it's wonderful to have it. To be honest, it's wonderful. Definitely at this point of my knitting life, this color is not an option for me. And I knew this before starting this project, but I thought if I'm choosing a pattern that I truly like, I think I will get over the color. And I did it. Yeah, so I am so happy to have this finished, and even happier knowing that I've reused my yarn, and my yarn now has a new life in a new sweater that I love to wear it. And I've already worn this a few times because we have had a couple of very cold mornings because of the wind, and it felt just perfect. Also in the class room, it is quite cold, and having a woolly sweater, it works. Just I just for example, my colleague next to me, she was really shaking in one morning, and she said to me, "Oh, Maria, I am so how do you say, envy you and envy you, yeah, I hope I pronounce it correctly, because you have that wool sweater and you feel cozy and you are not shaking." And I'm just like, oh my god. So yeah, it felt very nice. So I'm very happy. This is, I think it's a good example that instead of giving away our knitted garments, maybe we should give them another chance. And it's not nice to unravel a sweater. I can tell you, I will show you in my works in progress the struggle. But so it's not nice. This was nice also, was not nice also because, for example, the cardigan was a color work, and unfortunately I couldn't save the contrasting color, but I've saved the rest of it, and made me very happy. Actually, I have leftovers here. So this is my wool Rauma Finul, and this is the Sunday by Sandnes Garn. And I will use this in, I have a project, maybe I should talk about, because I'm talking about leftovers. So I'm not a blanket person. But I want to make a blanket, but I I'm never happy with my granny squares because it's a crochet blanket. So I'm very indecisive. That's the right word. However, I have here, I have made a lot of, from leftovers, a lot of little granny squares that I'm hoping at some point I have more, to transform them in a blanket. So at this moment, I am on that stage where I'm making granny squares. And here I have just leftovers that I hope to use them, because I don't know what else I could do with them. I don't need socks. So yeah, I don't know. And they're very small quantities. So yeah. Oh, I hit the microphone. Let's check the microphone. It's working. I am a little bit obsessed. Now I'm stepping to a subject that has nothing to do with knitting. But because of my loss of weight, my skin here is suffering. And I don't know what to do. I cannot afford aesthetic surgery. I'm just doing massage, we say in Romania, every morning and before going to bed. I saw something in a store that I think I will take just to do this a couple of times a day. I know it's silly because this cannot be fixed no matter what. Yeah, but it's the other face of the coin, we say in Romanian. But if I need to choose in between perfect skin and having diabetes, I am choosing unperfect skin. And yeah, not being sick. Okay, so if you have tips for me, if you went through this, and maybe you can give me some advices. What can I do to minimize this situation here, that it's just driving me crazy whenever I see me in the mirror? But at the same time, I'm thinking this will have eventually happen in a few years. So on one hand, maybe it's better, so I'm just getting used with my skin looking different. And different is not necessarily bad, right? Okay. Now I will go to my works in progress. Guys, I have the light, which is a yellow light here, my lamp. But if I turn this off, there is not enough natural light. So it is what it is. Okay, I will show you my next in project, my work in progress that got a lot of attention from me this morning, and it's my second project. I am doing reusing yarn from another garment. So I've told you that a little bit more than 2 years ago, I have been knitting my first Ingrid sweater by Petit Knit for me. That was very big now. And I unraveled that, and I am about so close to finish my Agnette cardigan by Petit Knit. So I don't know how to put this. Just a second. I am actually working through my second sleeve that I picked up this morning. I took a break last week from this project because the first sleeve was feeling so overwhelming. Yeah. But I finished, and I really hope that washing this cardigan won't change the fit, because I really, really love how it fits now. However, if you are making this pattern and following the instructions for the length of the body, taking in mind that this is quite cropped cardigan. So I think for all sizes, she says in the pattern that there is the same body length for all the sizes. So when you join the front with the back and you start to work the body, you are doing at the same time this double bottom band and the buttonholes. So she explained it very well how to modify this, you know. So you just need to read carefully through the pattern. I've decided to not make this longer because I will really, really love to wear it with my linen dresses this winter. Because I have some dresses that are short-sleeved dresses, and I think this will be just wonderful on top of it. And that's why I kept the length in the pattern. So I really, really hope that the washing won't change the fit of the garment. My sleeves are quite fitted, and I love this. I really love this. What I don't like is that for some reason my brioche stitch in the round on a small circumference, it is more tight than the body, and I will try to come closer. I don't know if you can see the difference. So here the stitch looks more open, much bigger than here, but that's okay. Now for this cardigan I am making size 4, and it fits me just perfect. At this point it has 0 positive ease, so not negative, not positive, but has no positive ease. So it's just perfectly around my upper body. And I love it. I really, really love it for dresses. So yeah, I've started to work the second sleeve. Now, there is just a modification I've made to the pattern for the cuffs. So I will explain. First of all, my cuff is just like approximately 2 centimeters of double knitted cuff. How am I doing this? So after all the decreases, I think I work another row in brush stitch, and then I've changed to smaller needle, increase in every stitch. So I actually double the number of the stitches. So for example, let's say I will have 50 stitches on my needles after all the decreases. I will increase, so I will double the number of stitches to 100, for example. Now, the pattern is worked with 3mm needles. And for this little cuff, I've used 2.5mm needles. It's just 8 rows in double knitting. It wasn't that bad. And I did not close the cuff by doing a tubular bind off. I just bind off by first decreasing 1 stitch and then decreasing 2 stitches at the same time, then 1, 2 at the same time, 1. So this is how I decrease, and I think it's looking very, very nice. I don't know if you can see. I noticed last time that coming very close, it's not a solution, so maybe I should stay like this. I don't know. Yes, so this is the only modification I've made. Considering how noodly the yarn was, and it is, as you can see, I think this turned out just wonderful. I'm making laundry, so I don't know if you can hear my washing machine. If you do, I apologize, but I can do nothing about it. Yeah, so I'm very happy with this project. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is not an easy project. It's not a hard project to me, but not an easy project. So there is a lot of information in the pattern. There is a little bit more complex than what usually petite knit is doing in some patterns. So if you are a more beginner knitter, my advice, I saw many, this is just like yeah, an extra discussion. So I saw recently in a podcast that somebody was giving tips for beginners. And somebody was saying that first you need to do is to read all the pattern. Why? Think about it. If you are a beginner, reading a whole pattern will not be the solution for you, because you will feel overwhelmed. You will don't understand nothing or almost nothing. And in the end, you might abandon the project because you will think, I cannot do this. This is too complicated. I don't like to give advice, but take this like a suggestion. Take the project step by step. Don't adventure further in the pattern unless you want to see, for example, how I am doing, because I'm not gauge swatching. What I do before starting to cast on or deciding what size to cast on, I'm looking at the total number of stitches for the body after you join. For example, if it is top down and you need to join the fronts with the back. After that, I'm looking at total number of stitches for the body, and I'm looking at total number of stitches you are starting the sleeves after you pick up the stitches actually. And sometimes, not always, I'm looking at the number of stitches for the neckline if it is a pattern where you need to work the neckline after doing the body, like the case of this sweater. So when it's not a raglan, you know. So that's what I am doing. So if you are a beginner, a beginner knitter, don't feel overwhelmed. Don't read through all the pattern, because there will be so much information that you will just not understand, because there are things you probably have not done before. So take it step by step. Start it with exactly what a pattern says. Cast on, for example, the number of stitches of the back, work the back, and then work the one front, and then the other front, and then the body. So don't overwhelm you. I don't like to say that the person giving the advice to read carefully through the pattern, it's a bad idea. Maybe if you have really, really good experience with knitting and knitting different complex projects, maybe that won't be an issue. But if you are a beginner, I truly believe, maybe not all beginners, but most of them will feel overwhelmed with the amount of information that they don't understand yet. So most of them might abandon the project thinking this is too complex for me to do it. Now, it's the same situation with this Agnette cardigan by Petit Knit. There is a lot of written information that can feel overwhelming. It felt for me too. I remember, I think 2 or 3 times I just put this aside because I was reading, I was trying to see further in the pattern. And at some point, so as I've said, you are working this bottom band together with the body of the cardigan. Now, at some point, you need to start, and now I remember another mistake I've made with this pattern. So you need to work the hem, but you put on hold the stitches from both bottom bands, make the hem, and then come back, pick up the stitches, and continue with the double knitted bottom band. And this step was just, it felt too much for me. I couldn't just process the information, what I have to do. So I put the project aside. And then I've decided, okay, I don't look forward. When I will reach that step, I will decide what to do. And that's what I did. Now, I've made a mistake. So I was supposed to increase a number of stitches for the bottom band. I've made it increases, and on the next row, usually I like to count the stitches while working them. And by the end of the row, I realized I had more with 34 stitches than the pattern was saying that I need to have. I took a break and I thought, I don't want to unravel. I will take the risk because the brush stitch, it has volume. Of course, the one by one ribbing, it will cinch a little bit the hem. And I thought, you know what? I think this is a very fortunate mistake because I don't like necessary my hem to be smaller than the body of the garment. And I thought maybe this is a good mistake. And I keep it. And so far it is okay. I don't know if in the future this will grow, but I don't think so. When I will reach that point, I will find a solution, but I don't think, because I'm not going out there pulling my hem, right? So yeah, this is my second project where I'm using yarn from another garment, and I love, this is a beautiful pattern. Look, the increases on the back. It's absolutely wonderful. And here are the increases for the fronts. Wonderful. I love it. Yeah, I have to say the beginning was overwhelming because you actually start with this piece here of double knitting, just from here to here. Yeah, that's it. And then after making this, you are picking up stitches here and begin to work the back and increase. And it was the first time doing this. And again, it felt more than my brain could understood at that point. So again, if I need to give a suggestion, is to not overwhelm yourself by trying to understand the pattern from the first reading. Don't read all the pattern, the whole pattern. Don't read it. Just take it step by step. Yeah. Now, I don't know if my yarn is enough. So all I have left is this. And for one sleeve, I've used I think like 80 grams of yarn. And when I started the second sleeve, I just had like 48 grams. Now I searched in my leftovers and I found 2 nuggets that I have as leftovers from my first project with this yarn. But I still don't think will be enough, and it's pissing me out because I need to buy another skein of mohair. I know I have the other yarn, so I'm holding, I'll come closer, I'm holding 3 strands together. These 2 are alpaca foliage thread by Sannes Garn, and this is angel print by Permin, which is a mohair in many colors, as you can see. So I have these 2. I have this, and I've already made peace that I probably will buy another mohair to finish the cardigan. And it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. I don't know what else I should say about this. Just that I am very happy with my choice of the project for this yarn that I unraveled from another sweater. I am very happy to reuse this yarn. So my yarn will have a new life in a garment that I will absolutely love to wear it. Very happy with the size. Very happy with the fit. Very happy I did not make it longer. Yeah. And I will be even more happy to have this finished. I will probably buy some metal buttons. I'm not sure, but yeah, I will see. They're quite expensive, but the buttons here in Norway are quite expensive, but many other things are expensive. So yeah, so my plan is to work on this every morning because my life will be so busy. I'm looking at it's almost 11. My life will be so busy because I'm going to school every day except today. Up to on Mondays, I'm finishing around 3 o'clock. And the rest of the days, I'm finishing around 1 o'clock. And then I have to be Speedy Gonzalez coming home with the bus, preparing lunch for my son, and then change my clothes and go to work until 9 o'clock in the evening. So this will be my life for the next, I don't know if the next month. I'm starting today. I don't know if this will continue also in December. It depends on how much this project will stay. So I'm having this job at campus. It's like a canteen. Canteen, do you say this in English? Canteen. In my language is cantina. In Norwegian is cantina. Yeah, so I will work on the dinner time. So there is for these oil platforms, a lot of workers are coming with the platform. So at this campus where I'm working, we are preparing, so they are also sleeping there because there are buildings. So we are preparing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I had to choose in between breakfast and dinner. It would have been so nice to work for the breakfast, because although I will have started very early in the morning, like 5:30, I will be finishing at 1 o'clock, and I will have the rest of the day home to do my things, cooking for my family and things in the house and so on. But I couldn't choose that because I need to go to the Norwegian classes, and I cannot stop with my Norwegian class. So instead I've choose the dinner time, which is less hours, so less money. But I hope to be able to do both of them. Yeah. So my next project, what I should, oh, I have it here, so I guess I will talk about this because it's more closer. I've made some changes here. Actually, in the last week, I have been doing so much work in the house. We started with my son's room. If you are new here, maybe you don't know that my son is an autistic teenager, a wonderful, wonderful child. For us, autistic, it's not bad anymore. We are not scared about this word. If you would have talked to me 13 years ago, I would have said that the world has come to an end. But 13 years later, I can tell you that for us, it's nothing bad, you know. So I've made a lot of changes, especially in his room, because I'm working with him in helping him to clean by himself the room, to take more tasks in the house, because the goal is for him to be independent, to do things on himself, by himself. He's doing a lot of things. Sometimes if somebody don't know him, they don't see at first sight that he is autistic. But yeah, so in order to do that, my son has a huge passion of collecting, I don't know what you call them, little cars that are imitating the real cars. And now his collection has more than 1,000 cars. Most of them are back in Romania, and we are planning to visit the family next summer. And he is planning to bring all he has to my mom, all his collection. Yeah, and his room was always a mess, and it was very difficult to clean his room. And a part of the little cars, I will show you. This is a different knitting podcast. Okay, so I'm disappearing again, one more time. But I just want to show you about my boy, because, yeah. So this is what my son is collecting. This. And we have so many of these in all the shapes and sizes. Our house is full of catalogs with cars, and this one is from, yeah, Skoda. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. And here, guys, it's just huge information about cars. I think this is actually from our car, one of our cars, I think. I don't know. Anyway, this, and oh my God. Whew. This is what my son is collecting, and we have more than 1,000 of these, of every possible car, old, new, vintage. I don't want to know how much money we spend on this, but the point without this is that if the child has an interest, the key to reach the child is his interest. And once you reach the child, you can actually work with the child. That's what we have done with our son. And I remember when he was little, almost all the family was saying, the washing machine has stopped. All the family was saying, no, you just invest so much money on this, you can buy something else. But nobody was truly understanding what was for us to see his interest. Because of this interest, we were able to build a lot of abilities and to build communication, verbal communication around this. It's so hard to explain. It's so much to talk about it. It's very hard. If you are not in a similar situation, I don't think you can truly understand what. It's very hard to know that you, not to know, to understand as a parent that your child is actually as any other child, but with limitation, and to understand that he needs a different help because he don't have the ability to learn by himself and from, around him. He does not have this ability. So with this, I will give you another example. I don't know why I'm doing this episode. I don't know if this will be interesting for you, but for my son, the start of the school was extremely difficult because I could not manage to help him understand that he needs to learn this and the alphabet and numbers and things like that. And I will tell you a story. When he started school in Romania, you start with year 0, it is called. So it's before the first year of school. And on this year 0 also they learned the alphabet, but there was no way for me to keep him attention, to learn the alphabet. So if I close my eyes, and I don't need to close my eyes, I see myself on the couch knitting. I see him in the front of me with hundreds of little cars around him playing. Or it was, I don't know if we can say playing, but he was just arranged them by columns. And a few months ago, that episode, we got him a board, a little board. And he was already know how to use the pencil. So it just hit me in that moment. How can I help him to learn the alphabet? So we took like a challenge. And I've said, okay, Luca, can you make a column with the cars that starts with A, and then with a column with cars that starting with B, and a column with cars that starting with C, and so on. And after that, we've learned to number. And then he was trying to write I write the first one. So I write the number, the letter of the car, and the numbers, how many cars he had with that letter. And we play like this, I think, for 2 or 3 days. And that's it. My son was knowing the alphabet. It was so, I did I did not feel it. It was so hard until that moment. So yeah, these, although I'm sick of them, to see them around the house, and now he's not playing with them anymore because he has 15 years old. But until maybe 3 years ago, almost 4, he was still playing with this. And uh, you don't know how many times we step on this, how many times, oh my God, yeah, it was very painful. So although I'm sick of it, we're still collecting them. So now, going back to the cleaning, I actually decided to take some huge boxes. I talked to him, we need to put this in the box. We have a dog, there is hair in the house, everything is full of dust, and it's very hard to clean them if they are somewhere all over the place. And we got some huge box. We took out this of his room because everything here was full with this. And we took him a small, how do you say, a small, that thing where you are sitting, writing, or things like that. God, I don't know the word. A school board, no board, a school table, something like that. English is not my friend today. So we cleared the room, and now it's very easy for him to use the, oh God, what is the name? I know it's støvsuger in Norwegian, but vacuum cleaner. Sorry. Yeah, it's more easy for him to use it, to clean his room, make his bed, everything gets put in the boxes. Yeah. And because of that, I took this here and I put here all my works in progress, everything I have. Not only, I finally decided to get a very good use to this, all the knitting bags I had and never used them. And this way I will save my projects from dust and dog hair. Now, okay, I'm back. I had to take a break. Okay, so my next work is work in progress. It is a cardigan that I showed you last time. It is the Rota Cardigan by Anna, and I will put the name on the screen because unfortunately I don't know how to pronounce the name. And oh boy, what a challenge with this little cardigan. So this is a very, very cropped cardigan that I want to have it for my dresses, of course. And I've made a lot of modifications. So the pattern, it is a very simple pattern, very basic raglan cardigan. You don't have too many pages. The instructions are clear. That's not a problem. I'm using the same yarn as the pattern recommends because it is very affordable and easy to get. This is Rauma Finul, the Norwegian wool, in the color 4127, which is this maybe petroleum blue, something like that. I don't know, I just fall in love with the color in the store and I decided to take this. Yeah, so this is a top-down raglan. It's a little bit unusual because you're doing the increases for the raglan on the purl side by doing yarn overs. So you have to remember that on the front side, you need to work these yarn overs through the back in order to not have gaps like lace gaps. This is how mine it looks. Very nice. So this was interesting. I didn't mind to do it. Now, the pattern is actually having a 2x2 neckline ribbing. The same for the hem, cuffs, and bottom bands. I've made the 2x2. But when deciding for the ribbing, I've decided I don't want 2x2 ribbing at all. Yeah. So instead of that, I've made the hem in double knitted. And then I've decided that the neckline was too high. And I ripped the neckline, which was a job because it was worked top down, and it's not the same when you're working, for example, when you want to unravel the hem just to add length, it goes well. So I actually put stitches underneath the hem on a needle, circular needle, and cut the fabric. And then I attach the yarn. I double every third stitch, and then I work a double knitted neckline for a few rows, not that many. Now, I don't have a picture, but it sits right here now, which I don't know if I still like it, but I just need to wash this to see it in the end. I had a little bit of issues with the body. So after you join, not after you join, after you separating the sleeve stitches from the body, at some point you start to make decreases for shaping the waist of this cropped cardigan. Now, in the pattern, it says, so you put 2 markers in the middle of the underarm stitches, and you make these decreases on the front side of the cardigan, and the pattern says to decrease 1 stitch before the first marker and 1 stitch before the second marker. And I thought that's not sounding very good, because if you decrease 1 stitch before the first marker, which will be here, you take stitches from the left front. If you decrease 1 stitch before the second marker, you will take stitches from the back. And I've said, this is not good. I don't know how she decreased like this, but for me it did not make sense to take one stitch for each decrease from the front and 1 stitch from the back. Instead of that, I decreased 1 stitch before the first marker. So I took from the left side 1 stitch. And then I decreased my other stitch after the second marker. So this way, I took another stitch for every decrease from the other front. I don't know if me explaining this step will make sense for you. But this is how it seemed logically for me. Another thing I did not like, and it has nothing to do with the pattern, in the sense that it's not a mistake, it's just an unfinished information, because at some point it says for larger bust you have two options. One is to decrease more stitches to shape, or to make it longer. But what means a larger bust? Because my current measurement for the bust is 106 centimeters, so this is not a small bust. And I didn't know what to do. But I saw this before splitting the sleeves, and I decided to cast on for size 4 in the pattern. Size 4, it should have a 110 centimeter finished bust. I have 106. Size 3, it is for 99 centimeter bust. So I was in between. And I end my increases in between these two sizes. Yeah, so this is what I have done. Now, although I like the look of the pattern with the 2x2 ribbing hem and 2x2 ribbing bottom band, I knew I don't want that for me. First of all, for the bottom band, I feel like if you are wearing a cardigan clothes, that 2x2 ribbing, I don't know if it will hold well in time. And I wear my knits a lot. I mean, I don't wear a garment just 1-2 times a year. I maybe wear it 5 times in a month, the same garment, because I have many. So I wanted something that will hold on the shape well in time, and I've decided to make the double knitted bottom band. Now, in terms of the sleeves, I am making already the modification, so I'm decreasing faster than the pattern recommends. And I still feel I have a little bit more fabric here than I would like, but it's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, other than that, I have the same length for the body as the pattern says. I try it on me and I think it's okay. I don't think this is having negative ease. No, I think it has just a little bit of positive ease, maybe 2 centimeters from my first impression trying this on. Yeah, and I will make also double knitted cuffs, just like for this cardigan, because I noticed that if I'm wearing a cardigan over a long sleeve dress, I don't like how the dress sleeve is sitting when I have a ribbed cuff. So I think I have more room for the long sleeve underneath the cardigan if I have a very small cuff with double knitted. Yeah. So this is what I will do for this one too. So I am about to finish this. I worked a lot last week, I think, on this, but this week I took a break because why not? Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I'm still not sure about this neckline. I will try to pull it more with washing. I also did not make I did not want to make a tubular bind off just because it's a cardigan. So I'm planning to wear this closed, and all this opening and closing will just make the tubular bind off to grow in time, and I did not want that. So this is my second work in progress. Very soon probably will be a finished object, I hope. Because of all this double knitting I've made with this cardigan, I don't know, I feel like this is a little bit too big, this bottom band. I hope it will block. If not, I need to just unravel and pick up less stitches. I shall see. It has a lot of buttons. I think I have 10 button holes. In the pattern, it says in between 9 and 11, depending on the side. I have 10. And because of all this double knitting, this is my last ball of yarn. I had 5, just like the pattern said, but definitely it's not enough to finish both sleeves. So I probably need to go to the store to buy yarn for these two to be able to finish the same for this. So I saved them for the next month. So I will knit as long as I have yarn, and next month I will buy to finish them, because it's been a long time since I got yarn, and my plan, and I will stick with my plan no matter what, is to not buy any yarn anymore this year, unless, like in the case of these two projects, I need to finish them and I run out of yarn. I think I will talk about 2 more projects for today, because it is already a long episode. Of course, I have more projects on my needles, but they are not. They are just at the beginning, and I'm not working on them for the moment. So there is no point to talk about something I don't have progress, right? Okay. My next work in progress, it is actually something with the last yarn I got in August maybe. I don't remember. It was something on sale, and it's not something I'm affording to buy normally. Okay, so my next project, it is a sweater. I'm doing again my Alvar sweater. Actually, I worked this morning a little bit because I picked up for the first sleeve. Can you see something on this? How small it is? Yeah. And I have an extra 3.5 centimeters than the pattern says. Now, this is all the yarn I have left, because I have it here. Just a second. I think, yeah, I think this is Isayer tweed together with alpaca one. And I also have this. So what's my plan now? My plan is to make the sleeves and then to make the neckline. I think I have enough yarn to finish both sleeves and neckline. And then I will wash this. And I really don't mind if this will be cropped. because I don't have any sweater that I can wear with dresses. And this will be very, very interesting to have it for my dresses. I know this will grow a little bit because it's a textured pattern with knit and pearls, and I know from my previous one that this will open. But to be honest, I hope not that much, because at this length it's just perfect for dresses. Now, my first Alvar sweater, it was this one, huge. As you can see, I took out the first sleeve. This is one of those projects I will unravel and work something else with it. And as you can see, I don't have anymore the one sleeve, which means I started a new project, but I won't talk about it today. So this is the first one I've made, and this is size 5 in the pattern. Yeah. And now I'm doing size 3, which is so small. Oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy what a difference. But again, I don't mind if this will stay in the crop size, because I think it will be perfect for my short sleeve dresses. And I'm very happy because I have in my future knitting plans to make 2 or 3 sweaters that are cropped, especially for dresses. And I have a saved project that I will cast on next year, but I will talk more about it when I will reach that project. Yeah, so last time I was working on the back panel, so you can see how much progress I've made. What I've done lately is usually I pick up a project for a week and work on it. And that's how this got so much progress. And now I have 3 projects working on the sleeves, which makes it perfect because I am on a part where I don't have many stitches on my needles. Also, my knitting time will barely have maybe 2 hours in the morning before waking up my son for school. So I think I am just in the right place with all these projects working on the sleeves in the next probably 2 weeks at least. Yeah, so this is Alvar Pullover by Sari Nordlund in size 3, needles 3.5 millimeter. And it bothers me a little bit because it's not the same color, but almost the same color as my next work in progress. But it is what it is. Yeah, I cannot do anything about it anymore. I just have to see where is my next project. If you, oh, no, it's not this one. It's not this one. Just bear with me, please, so I can, I don't know where I put them. Yeah, I have it here. Okay, so my last work in progress that I will talk about it today, it is another project where I'm using yarn from another garment. So, a little while ago, I've made a cardigan. I think I talked about this cardigan actually in my first knitting podcast. It was this that is called her home office cardigan. I will try to put a picture. And as you can see, I unraveled the sleeves. And now, and a double bottom band I had here. And now I just need to because this was a knit by piece project, and I sewn all the parts together, and now I just need to, yeah, separate again the front from the back and unravel this. The bad part with unraveling, especially when you knit by pieces, and this was a messy sewing because it was my first project done like this. And since then, I've made another one, and I'm making another one, and I have a little bit more experience, and I know how to sew them in case I decide to unravel, to not break the yarn so many times as I did with this, because I end up with, you see, yeah. But again, it's not a problem. We can wave in ends. Yeah. Now, about the pattern, this is a Norwegian pattern that take me a little bit of time, and it will still take me a lot of time. I think I will put a picture on the screen, but just to see the name of the pattern. Yeah. So this is called Strukturorama Genser. I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly. And it's a wonderful all over texture panels. And this is a pattern that you can buy from the Klompelompe or Klumpelumpe. I don't know how do you pronounce website. I see here two names, Klompelompe, Torun, and Hanna. I think this is a separate part from Sandnes Garn, because Klompelompe is actually a yarn that Sandnes Garn is selling. So they have, I think, two merino wool superwash yarns. One is fingering. It's the wind. Oh my God. So one is fingering and one is more a decay. So if you go on the Sandnes Garn website, you will see merino wool, Klompelompe. Yeah. Anyway, how I found this pattern, because I had no idea about it. But lately, I becoming part of two Norwegian knitting groups. And thank God they accepted me, because there is so much inspiration. My goal is to try to make more Norwegian patterns, to not only learn better the knitting language in Norwegian, but also to know more about Norwegian designers, because they are so talented. And somehow I feel that working other patterns than what you daily see on Instagram, it brings me so much joy to make something different, you know. I'm perfectly okay with every pattern, but that doesn't mean I need to work every pattern, right? So I've decided, oh, and on that group, there was a lady, she was having a picture with this sweater, but in child size. And this is a pattern bottom up, and she was asking if somebody knows if there is a version of this pattern top down. And then I saw where was the pattern, and I searched on Instagram by hashtag Strukturorama sweater, and took me on the Klompelope website. and I got the pattern from there. It's a paid for pattern, and I've started to knit it. And it was a challenge because it is in Norwegian, and my knitting Norwegian is extremely limited, and I don't know how people are managing to translate whole patterns with Google Translate, because for me it is almost impossible to do this. I don't understand nothing. Yeah, so I took, as I've said at the beginning of the video, I did not want to feel overwhelmed, and I took the pattern by section. Luckily, there are video tutorials that you can find on their YouTube channel and also the website. So those were very helpful because I had no idea how to work a specific stitch. And let me show you the progress so far. This is on hold for the moment because it's just taking so much of my mental attention, concentration. Yeah, so you work bottom up. So you first starting with half of the hem, then work the other half, and then join them because there is a little split hem on the side. And then you work, I've made the first panel, which is not cabling, it's just pulling a stitch, I think 2-3 rows down always. And then I've made the second panel, which is knit and purls. And now I am about to start the third panel, but this, I think this will be the hardest because I still don't understand exactly how to work it. And I have a sweet new friend. Her name is Signe, and we met a couple of months ago to a knitting cafe, and since then we are meeting every Friday for 2 hours in the evening, and we have a coffee together and we knit together, usually in a commercial center. Of course, if I'm not busy or she is not working, we are meeting. And she's a knitter also, but she's a classic knitter. She's knitting a lot of color work sweaters. And I've asked her about this stitch, but she does not know to explain me because she has never worked it. And her English is not... she says it's not the best, so she cannot help me in English because we are talking in Norwegian. Yeah, so I guess I just need to be in a very special mental place to concentrate exclusively on this, and I'm sure I will figure out how to work that section too. But I don't think they are the same in the color. Definitely this is more on the gray side, and this is more in the warm brown side. But that's okay. This makes me very happy to work it from yarn from another garment. So once I will make this, I will be so happy to have another sweater that this yarn will get a new life, because the cardigan, definitely I could not wear it anymore. It was just huge, and it was nice to have it, to knit it. It was my first project by pieces. I've learned so much from that project, but yeah, it was just not the right one at this moment for me. And I think with this project, that's all for today. I will try to wrap up this episode here. Uh, I'm sure it will be again more than an hour episode, but I don't know. I hope I didn't bore you